All right, welcome back to the Brutally Honest. Ooh, I can't even say our own name today. I'm messing it all up. But Brutally Honest Loan Officer Podcast. I am Stephen Brock, and with me, as usual, is Mr. Derek Brown. Say hi, Derek.
Hi, Derek.
Of course. Of course. We are loan officers in Florida and licensed in other states, but we are with a mortgage firm. But today we have a special guest. We'll give a warm welcome to Miss Aimee Lee.
Oh,
Ooh.
brutally honest.
Aimee.
What did I sign up for?
You can say whatever you want. We have no restrictions here. No
Love
restrictions.
it.
But it's good to see you. And I'll give a little background. So I have never met Aimee in person. We have closed a deal together. We have actually met through social media is how we met. And so it's
Okay.
yeah, Derek's against social media. Not so much anymore, but
I'm not. I'm not against it. It just annoys me sometimes.
it annoys everybody.
Yes.
It annoys, you just have to do it. But so let's just get right into it. So we're gonna we gave you kind of what questions we're gonna ask, but we do have a surprise question that we ask all our guests. Do you believe in aliens?
Oh, wow. Extraterrestrial. I mean, oh, that's a heavy question, you guys. A way to start off a podcast. Do we have some X-File like diehard fans?
I have no idea.
We have no idea. We just thought it was a great icebreaker
We've never
question.
gotten called out for asking this question, so I would say no, that there's no diehard X-File fans that listen to our podcast also. They're probably listening to different ones.
Yeah, they're definitely not listening
I
to us.
mean, I feel like all of us are a little curious.
But do you
And
believe in aliens?
I feel I can't say that we're the only ones in the entire galaxy out there living, right? I mean, that
Well,
seems crazy.
here's how I categorize it too. Like, I'm not talking about like there's an amoeba on Mars. Like, not like I'm talking about another life form that can communicate and build things. And like, there is a spaceship that has landed on Earth.
Oof. Oh, a
She's
part
like,
of me
why did
says
I
yes,
sign
and a
up for
part of me says no.
Okay. So she's 50-50. That's fine.
I am.
That's kind of
I
where you
am.
are, aren't you, Derek? You're like, okay.
I lean more towards no, because how have we like anytime they're like, we have proof, then somebody debunks the proof. And there's just so much back and forth. Like I know dogs exist because I have seen and touched a dog. So that's kind of how I feel about aliens. I don't know. Okay, let's get away from the alien question. Why
She
we're
she she
here?
was so nervous on answering that. Where most people are like,
I
yes, no.
was.
There's no wrong answer. There's no wrong answer. You could, if you answer one way or another, we're not going to flog you. Okay, it's fine.
I love
Um,
it. I just don't go down the rabbit hole. Are they there? Maybe.
well, see, rabbits exist because we've seen them and touched them. So
This is going to be great when we put everybody's answer into like one
I know we need to
video.
make that video once we have like 50 or something.
We'll do it.
All right, Aimee. So tell us a little about yourself. Kind of give us a little background, like who you are, where you're from. Don't just give us like I'm a real estate agent or whatever. Like go a little bit further back. Tell us, how you got started, where you're from, stuff like that.
Well, shoot, how much time do you guys have? Okay, I'm going to take it back. My parents are from the Philippines. They moved to California. They actually had families of their own when they met each other. I was their surprise baby, but it also put them on the path to real estate, which has been great. They were around in San Francisco during the Big Short and the 2008 crash, and the recession was really, really tough. I mean, I remember we probably had 4 or 5 homes and watching them have those hard conversations, and then also like losing the homes was really tough, but I think it makes me a stronger realtor today. I actually ran full-fledged the opposite direction when they were like, you're going to be 18, you get your real estate license, we'll do this together. And I was like, no, absolutely not. My mom is a big nagger, and I just could not see myself taking direction or, I don't know, order from her. And I ran away and moved to LA. I decided to go be a professional dancer and follow my dreams. I had been training technically for years and years and started to compete in hip hop and ended up landing my first deal in an Apple commercial doing the Apple Shuffle. And it opened a lot of doors to doing music videos for Avril Lavigne, Akon, JC Penney ads, McDonald's ads. I toured and taught for K-pop artists. And it was really such a fun time. My passport was thick and I was traveling on someone else's dime and doing international gigs. Um, you know, being a starving artist has its pros and cons, and you can only eat so much off the dollar menu and
Right.
instant ramen.
Yeah, you say like traveling on someone else's dime, but you're not making very many dimes doing all that.
No, I mean, I definitely looked at my photos recently and I was like, oh my gosh, who was I? Like 20 years old and like extra large sweats and extra large like clothing. None of it fit me. But I trained with like the Jabberwockies and I, yes, like those were my friends. Like we would hang out in the garage and we would compete in dance competitions. And, before World of Dance was big and JLo took over, I mean, I used to take the World of Dance boys, throw them in an Escalade, and then MC the stage shows. So,
Awesome.
really, really cool. And going to Korea and living in Korea was really awesome. And going and working in a record label was awesome. And being in their music videos was awesome. And um, Korean K-pop, you guys, it's like Elvis Presley, like fangirls. They cry, they tear, they faint, they bring gifts. I mean, it's a whole different world. And none of them wanted, an American girl touching their man. But I,
Did they threaten
at
your
some
life?
point, oh, 100%. Like they were
Oh,
like, I'm
seriously?
surprised you showed up. Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like
Oh man, I said that
I'm
as a joke,
pretty.
but okay. Like so it's like it's a little different. Okay. Dang.
And
I
like
think so.
14-year-old girls, like obsessed.
Yeah, that's not
Um,
healthy.
no. And they were so cute. I mean,
They threatened
Cute
my
I'm
until
pretty
they
life.
sure.
threaten your life.
Yeah, they were trying to kill me, but they're so cute at it.
They're so cute. Um, I think I'm pretty sure I sent almost one of the artists to jail. I mean, we did this scene in a concert where I came up on the bed and wrapped my legs around him, and everyone was like, whoa, that's sex on stage. We can't have any of that. And that was kind of the end of my K-pop, stint right there. And I started managing choreographers. And at the time, I was getting choreographers like $1,000 an hour to travel overseas and get paid. And everyone wanted me to manage them. And I was like, I don't think this is it for me. And I got
Right.
into hospitality, food and beverage. I think a lot of people need to or have heard the horror stories of working food and beverage. It is not easy. And I think everyone should have it under the belt, even if it's for 1 hour and you say, this is not for me.
Right. Yeah.
Because, you know, putting out fires and taking care of customers, it's all goes hand in hand with what we do today. But long story short, I had a baby unexpectedly, did not know I was pregnant at 7 months, had her that day, and that changed the course of my life. I moved from LA to Tennessee to be closer to my sister, who raised not her, but me as well, and got my license. And now I'm serving Knoxville as a realtor. So, long-winded answer.
Wow. So
That
wait,
was
how far along were you before like you found out you were pregnant?
7 months. And
wow.
Man.
thrashing my body, like going to concerts and drinking and flying to Spain, and came back with massive cankles. And I was like, that's wrong. That's not right.
My goodness.
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
I knew parts
And
of
I
this
thought,
story, but because she puts it out there, like you watch her videos and stuff, like you see parts of it, like wow, just to hear you like go through it all, like flying across the
I
country, new mom, new whole new world, and then now you dive into real estate. new career, new everything. Amazing.
Yes. Which means if I can do it, you guys can do it too.
So how, let's go there, because you're, I'm not gonna say you're new and real, you're newer, by newer, like less than what, 5 years? Like you're only a couple years in,
Yeah, three.
3 years in,
Three.
and you're absolutely crushing it. Like that's the amazing. You go watch all her stuff, you see what she does, like it's amazing how much she is doing. So when going to Tennessee and going to Knoxville area, like what made you decide to go into real estate? How did you kind of get started doing that? And like, how did you hit the ground running doing it?
Oh, that's a good question. I had run away for so long, and I think life has a way of bringing you back. My brother-in-law actually was like, "Hey, I think it's time for you to get your real estate license and just go." I mean, you working in hospitality does not make sense, being the first one in, being the last one out, and having a newborn who was a preemie. I was like, yeah, I think you're right. And we all say should have, would have, could have. I wish I started when I was 18, but I definitely was not in the mental state to be driven and want to do things and want to learn. I think that you have to do it when you're ready. And so I may be in my late 30s, but I think that also is a huge reason to why I have so much drive and fire in my belly. So I got my license in 2020 during the pandemic when real estate was at its freaking peak. And I thought I had missed the train, but I was really just getting it at a really good time because, you still have to take courses, get your license. I really wasn't selling until 2021. And yeah, now I'm sitting on like 10 listings and closed about almost 10 million for the first half of 2024.
Awesome. That's incredible.
Yeah.
I always say hindsight's 2020, and knowing what I've done in my career as a loan officer, like I have that thought of like, I wish I could go back in time and start it sooner. But I also feel like, cause I also like, I worked at Publix for a long time. So grocery stores and then,
They got Publix in Tennessee.
okay, making
Yeah.
sure.
We do, and I love it so
It's
much.
so awesome because when I went up there, the Publix that we went to is the same design as the Publix as ours to here. So I was like, I knew where everything was. I was like, this is great. You see all the like the tourists walking around, like can't figure out where anything is. I'm just like,
There's specific store models, like the square. You can like, if you know the like the type of store or whatever, like a manager would be able to tell you the square footage of the building and stuff like it's all the same. It's crazy.
Hey.
But yeah, I worked at Publix, then I worked in restaurants, then got into restaurant management. And none of that panned out to my career. But I think it also like it made me who I am, and like everything I learned there is what has made me successful in like my mortgage business now. I just don't know. Like I wish I had started sooner, but I don't know if I would have been as successful or had the work ethic or anything like that. So I don't know. It's all part of fate, I guess. Amy, what's your favorite part of being a realtor?
Ooh, favorite part, man. I mean, we all like looking at homes. I actually love this idea that I offer a lot of my vendor partners and people I meet. I always say, like, let's have an epic date night. Go out, go for drinks, go for dinner. And if there's a home that you've been looking at and it's just a little bit out of your reach, but you look at it at Zillow, because we all look at those nice homes, like,
Right.
let's end the night there. Because I get to see them, but you guys don't get to. Favorite part though is really when I get to show my expertise. I know that we all love a smooth transaction, but sometimes I wish for choppy waters because that's when I get to really step up to bat and fend for my clients. And that's when they remember me. I'm more memorable. There's a story. There's something that's attached me to them and their house and their family. And that's what keeps the referrals going.
So you brought up stories on here. What's your favorite, I guess maybe favorite and crazy story?
I'm a little bit of a jumper. Everything freaks me out.
You need to
Like,
expand on that. Like I'm a jumper. Like it's we've
Uh,
got a jumper. I'm
yeah, you
picturing
might.
her on the top of a building. Like I'm going for it. I'm sick of this place.
I will definitely jump out of plane, no problem, not afraid. But little things make me very jumpy. And I remember showing a home and I don't
Oh
know. I
yeah.
was like, is that an omen? Like little dead black crow just dead on the doorstep. And I couldn't do it. She's like, oh, I got you, girl. Kicked it aside. I mean, it was like one thing after the next, but a good story. I help, well, a lot of newlyweds. And this one, she was so great. They were amazing, but they were doing calls with me around 2020. And we were doing virtual tours leading up to their wedding. She was like, oh, we're at our wedding rehearsal. I'm like, girl, do not talk to me. Go get married. She would call me on the honeymoon when they were hopping on a flight to go to Alaska, getting fish and trout. Like I felt like I
He
was
didn't have
there, like
boundaries. Yeah.
getting married. Yes. And we did everything. I think it was like a mail away closing. So I had the keys. And I said, listen, take your time. You're driving from Arizona. When you get here, let me know. We both live in Oak Ridge in the same area. And so she's like, hey, awesome. Sounds great. I'll let you know when we're close by. And so she did. I rushed out of the house, put my things on. I'm like, yes, I get to finally meet these people in person, face to face. Just like I would be so excited to meet you, Stephen, like when we finally get this interaction. And I take that key, I run out the door, I'm giving them the tour. Here's this, here's that, etc. Got the cleaners, got the paint. Parents are about to pull up in the U-Haul. She's like, oh, my parents are here. I was like, oh, cool, I get to meet them too. Awesome. And she like leaned over and she's like, hey girl, I just want to let you know, like, your fly is down. I looked down. It's not like a little, it's like a diamond shape. I'm like, oh my God, I think I had spent 30 minutes with them. And the whole time they were probably trying to find a time to tell me, but I was just so excited to show them the house and everything. So, moral of the story, I now look down many, many times before I meet someone. I threw those counts away. And luckily, I was wearing some kind of bodysuit, like that was covering everything. But I was definitely embarrassed. And she doesn't remember that story. When I bring it up, she's like, oh, yeah, I totally remember that. So,
That is
nothing
great.
too crazy. I did close
That's
on a
not too
home.
bad. That's
No,
happened like that happens on the weekly basis for me and Steven. Like that's more of a guy thing, I guess.
It's definitely a guy
That's
thing.
the same thing as like somebody like having something in your teeth. But I'm the type of person that the moment I see it, I'm telling somebody. Like
yes.
you got something in your like, I wouldn't let you go on for 30 minutes. Like
I'm like the guy from what was it, Austin Powers? He's like the mole thing. Like I can't I can't do anything until you fix it.
That's a good scene.
all
I
right, so
gotta
you
address it.
got
Yeah.
in, you got into the business during the whole COVID time, 2020, really started producing 2021, and you've been doing well. Like, how do you see the market evolving? Like, where do you think we're headed? Do you think like, I know that you don't deal with, interest rates and stuff like that. But like, how do you see the market changing? Do you think there's a crash coming? Do you think we'll have 5% interest rates by the end of the year? Like, I mean, what's your outlook on the housing market right now?
Goodness, I feel like I should be asking you guys this question. Everyone was predicting the 555 and that we'd be down to 5% and hoping that this election's going to, you know, pull those interest rates down. And we called what 2022 like a fake year and those
Right.
crazy low interest rates. I will tell you that Tennessee has become a really big hotspot for people, and the migration patterns have happened not just from California. And I think California, you have to follow where the money goes. So, like, obviously, I was there when Silicon Valley was booming and Google came, and I mean, it changed the city. It's also very sad to think that San Francisco State and California State is that there's so much crime, especially after the pandemic, and things are boarded up and companies are leaving left and right, insurance companies, Walgreens. I mean, the downtown San Francisco, that's not how I remember it as a child.
Right.
And, it's scary to think that if you fly in and rent a car, they're going to say, don't stop within a 5 mile radius or you're going to get jacked. My best friends, I meet them in Vegas or my travels and real estate conferences. They go home and all their windows are broken into. I mean,
Jeez.
definitely not safe for me as a mom with my daughter. So I'm very thankful that I think based on her, and maybe this is thinking like really out there, but she changed the course of my life. She moved me to a safer area and she got me into real estate, which is a real career. And, I look at my account and I'm like, yes, like I can actually impact and make awesome change. But a lot of people want to go to Nashville first. I think they get priced out and they end up going to Knoxville. And even Knoxville's migration has gone further east to the Tri-Cities like Bristol and Johnson City. We attract a lot of people from Florida who are doing the halfback kind of movement. They also
Right.
go to Carolinas. And we attract people from Illinois and from New Jersey who have the top two highest property taxes in the states.
Right.
Now, Knoxville, based on like Pods' latest article, we're the top eighth city where people are moving to, but I'm sure there are many other moving companies and so much more data to look into. Currently, right now, with 4th of July being kind of a 4-day weekend, and I talked about this on my story on Instagram yesterday, was that I'm seeing a ton of inventory pop up. I'm seeing a ton of price improvements, open houses, days on market. So I would say that there are pockets within the year of when to be a really smart buyer. I just met my client and she bought her home in 2022 early in the year. But if someone bought later in the year, which you probably know, it was a much higher price tag.
Right.
So if you were a buyer right now, I would say you have more options and negotiating power. But I don't think it's going to be that way for a long time since it's still a hot spot. So now I ask the question to you guys, what do you think?
This, I think there are, yeah, depending if people are moving to the area, it's still going. If you price it correctly, they're still going. I'm in South Florida. Affordability is more of our issue when it comes to it. But if you put that house, like it's back to 2019, 2020 kind of terms where if you list it correctly, it's gone. Even
Right.
if it's, even if it's, a $2 million house, it's gone. They're not lasting with it. But the seller has to be realistic too. Like they're not going for 100% of what you listed at. It's going 95, 96%, maybe seller's concessions in there. For the mortgage side of market, uh, all the numbers point to that the Fed should do something about the rates. The Fed does what the Fed wants to do. And I think we're not to be political, but I don't think anything's going to happen unless something changes with things. Why would they? I mean, I tell people all the time, if you go out on a Monday night and you go to a restaurant, they're still packed. The people are spending money, so that's why the Fed doesn't really want to lower their rates because they're like, hey, the market's doing just fine where they're at. But like you said, if they do, you're going to have a frenzy of buyers coming up. Derek's area might be different where he's at on stuff, but we had a couple of his realtors on, and I think it's basically the same.
My area, just like there's lower priced homes and then higher priced homes. There's just like a lot of both. And kind of like Steven said, if something's priced accordingly, it typically sells. We've seen some overpriced homes sit, just that makes sense. But outlook on rates, we don't have the crystal ball, and everybody wants to make a decision on the future, but we can't predict the future. We can't, and nobody can agree on what the future is going to look like. That's the biggest difference. Like we have voting Fed chair members that will vote on a rate cut. Well, none of them agree. It's like 50-50 that we should cut or shouldn't. And so like a lot of them also aren't global economists that know how to read some of the reports. They just read a headline and go off of how they feel. So it's just we try everything we can to track and predict where rates are going to go, but there isn't like a perfect formula for that. Like Steven said, interest rates will drop when you go into a restaurant on a Friday night and it's empty. But that's not the case right now. And I mean, there's times where there's expensive homes that I have buyers going under contract for, and they can afford the payment. They don't really even question the interest rate. Affordability isn't like a big deal to them, but it's a lot of our first time home buyers that are struggling with affordability, and they look at, well, my mortgage payment's going to be $3,000, or I could rent for $2,400. I think we should just rent. And I don't necessarily disagree with that, if they can't afford the mortgage payment. You know, so that's the affordability issue is what we're struggling with right now. And I just, if something does get fixed, it's going to take a long time. Interest rates coming down, take a long time.
Yeah, they're
I
not
agree.
gonna, if they cut them, it's not like, hey, where we went from, what, 2.5 to 4s in like a month? Like, it's gonna be like, hey, we cut it
But
a little bit, a
well,
little
and
bit, a
here's the
little
thing,
bit.
everything's based off like future predictions. So let's say the Fed comes out and they say, hey, we are gonna cut rates in September. We are gonna cut them by a quarter or half, whatever. The moment they say that, the market will adjust. Interest rates will go lower that day. And then when they do the rate cut, everything will be the same
Right.
because it's already been adjusted prior to. You know what I mean? So like we just need them to start talking positively, you know, about cutting rates and stuff like that and getting on the same page. But
Yeah,
that's
that seems to be the issues. You get a lot of these, oh, the numbers look good, kind of where we wanted to see it at, and then the chair comes out, Powell comes out and says, basically, you know, the news line read in between his sayings, and it's like, oh, well, nope, that's bad. Back to where we
yeah.
were. And so like it was last month where we started seeing positive gains in the bond market. So rates were looking better. Like, oh, we're finally kind of getting that hump. And then Powell talks later that afternoon, and all that gain we had just gone, like
Yeah.
Right.
within seconds. So it's like, well, you just spoke and ruined it all. So it's like you just need them to just, hey, we're doing good. Like, do something,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. But then he just blabs, ruins it.
ruins it for us.
Hmm.
So, all right. So we went on the market thing, and I talked a little bit about how you are very big on social media and stuff. But what is something that you do as a realtor that you see a lot of realtors, even seasoned ones, new ones, just in general, not do what they should be doing?
Oh, so I love real estate, and I think you touched on it earlier that talking about mortgages can be a very boring topic. I think real estate can be a very boring topic too. And I think people love to talk about what's going on in the market, like what's the weather like? It's just something that rolls off the tongue, especially if you're interested. But when you get to the nitty-gritty of it, it could be a boring topic. I think when I first started looking at social media and realtors, I was like, man, there's a lot of educational pieces. I like that, right? Because there's a lot of terminology and jargon, and, people want to talk about escalation clauses. But I was like, as much as I love the contract and you explaining it all, when my house is closed and done as a client, as a consumer, my journey with you kind of ends. So I wanted to completely change it and talk about more of the lifestyle. I actually like to talk about my move from California and how different it is in Tennessee and how it was a culture shock, but it's definitely grown on me. And I think that when we talk about stories and we talk about even like listing a home, I mean, you could talk about the features that they could read online, or you can say, hey, what's great is like going down to the coffee shop, being 10 minutes away from the airport. That is going to speak to an actual person who's going to live there and resonate. Like
Right.
I have a condo right now and they're older. It's not an age restricted community by any means, but all the main living is on the main level, which I love. And then all their family and grandchildren can come and utilize the bonus room or the basement. And so if those are the things that they've utilized the home for and love about the home, then those are the things I want to share. And so that's how I treat my social media. Like, is it thought provoking? Is it going to leave you questioning something kind of like a movie? Like, do you want to have a conversation? If you do, let's talk about it. Like, I love dancing because I'm a dancer at heart and I love the lip syncing. And I think it's fun to do those every now and then. It's fun to throw the educational, and it's also fun to throw like more of a talking head or a story. So, kind of a range. It has to be everything.
I will say, so when my wife and I decided, okay, we're gonna move to Tennessee, when our window is, who knows? She probably knows, but I don't. She would probably do it right now if she really could. But like I was reaching out to a bunch of realtors up there. And when of course I'm in mortgages, so first I think, oh, like here's another mortgage guy. But I was like, hey, I want to move up there. We're coming up, to Gatlinburg. We're just there to visit that part of it, but like you were the only one that was like, well, you should go over here and do this and see this and this and this and like all these things. Nothing about like, hey, I'll be your realtor. Like she was all lifestyle. Like, look at these things, visit here. Here's a cool spot to eat, drink. Christmas time. It was Christmas
It
time.
was
Like,
genuine.
yeah. Everybody else was like, the second sentence out of their mouth was like, oh, when you get up
You
here,
have a
like,
realtor?
can I be your realtor? I'm like, well, then, no, like now I definitely don't want to use you. Like, so it is amazing how I kind of knew the answer was going to happen without really knowing what you were going to say, but like you are like Derek just said, you're genuine all the way through. Like your social media to who you are as a person and how you come off is all the same through it. So I really like that.
Dude, I really love that. And if you guys don't know a realtor, because everyone and their moms knows one, they're freaking sharks. And it's no different coming out here to
It's
East
cutthroat.
Tennessee. Oh, holy cow. And they're like, oh, why don't you go back to LA and like, really make it big and do like $1 million listing? I'm like, no, 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 no. We're not messing around in a super competitive market with real big money. But
Right.
coming out here has its pros and cons too. And, they talk about the Southern hospitality, and I was like, yo, Southern hospitality? I'm like, you haven't met Filipino hospitality. Like, we're
Yeah.
warm. We are nurses because we care and we will like feed you till you can't walk on your two legs. Southern hospitality is like, I don't know, it's a little condescending. It's like, bless your heart and have pity on you. And if you walk
Right.
on my land, I'm going to shoot you. Like, I'm like, damn, like, I don't know if I can get down, but they've really grown on me. I know a lot of women looked at me with like those crazy eyes. I'm like, damn, like I can't even blend in. I look different. I sound different. I can't even pronounce things with it like Weagles and Beigles. I'm like, oh crap, like I gotta learn a whole new language and be more conservative
For the
and
second time. Yeah. Yeah, this is a different English here.
like we have a La Follette, and I'm like, oh dude, in San Francisco that'd be Lafayette.
I think
Oh.
everywhere else would be Lafayette, just not there.
I was like, oh, La Follette.
It's rodeo, not rodeo.
Yeah.
And stuff like that is just because one person decided to be a dick and like just say it differently and try to convince other people to do it too. Because there's no reason it should be like different. It's just dumb.
Oh,
Lawful it, really? Come on. That's ridiculous.
That's great.
Sorry. All right. So Aimee, I was raised by a single mother.
Yes.
And you are a single mom.
Yes.
And how does that how do you juggle being a single mom, real estate professional? How do you make that work for you and your daughter?
Yeah, I'm Derek, really getting into the thick of things here. Um, Being a single mom is hard freaking work, or a single parent. Like props to you guys who are doing it, because for me, I'm thankful that I have the support of my sister. For sure, she was watching her for as long as possible before putting her in daycare. I was like, this girl's not going to even know who her mom is because I'm always out trying to get some deals. And she gets to see my sister's face 24/7, which is so not true. And my sister has been kind of like a father figure. She like really got the Graco crib and the thing that they have to sit on. And she got two car seats, one for my car, one for her car. I mean, really stepped up to the plate there, which has been really cool. There are times, and this is the reason why I didn't want to become a realtor. I remember the times my parents could not come to my ballet recitals, left me hanging like just out and dry, couldn't come pick me
Right.
up at 3 p.m. And I waited in front of a school till like 7 p.m. for them to get out of their appointments. Um, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to put a number on this because I don't want to be consumed by real estate because it'll do that to you. But now I'm like, F it. Like she's young. She won't remember these. Like, let's go out and work hard and make as much money as possible and then build a team structure where maybe I could be a lot more hands off and enjoy that time with my daughter when she starts getting into sports and ballet or whatever she wants to get to. Actually, she told me today, I was like, I was like, oh, you look like a little gymnast with your Tennessee Bowls gear. And she's like, I'm not a gymnast, mom. I'm a ballerina. Like, she's 4.5 and she has sass. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, is that what you want to do? You want to be a ballerina? She's like, no, I want to be a swimmer. I want to be a diver. I was like, oh, okay, yes, I can't swim.
Oh
So
my
yes,
goodness.
Yeah.
My daughter's
you
4.5 and that's sass. Holy smokes. 4-year-old daughters with the sass. Get out of here.
Hold on, I
okay.
had so mine's 8. I had the perfect. I had them both last night. My wife was doing work stuff at this. I texted her and it was perfect. She was doing, I think she was cleaning dishes or something, and she had an attitude with it. And I was like, hey, don't give me an attitude. And she goes, but I can't help my attitude anymore. It was a total meltdown. I was like, I can't help it. Like, you can't, you definitely have that attitude. It doesn't get any better, but they're strong willed. My son's just there. He's just, hey, here I am. Like,
I heard boys are easy.
yeah, yeah. I never knew it. Like my dad growing up used to tell me all the time. He's like, I'd rather raise 10 boys than raise my sister again. Like he's like, one girl's and is 20 boys. I was like, oh, whatever. Yeah.
That's what
Then
I
I
say.
have a
I said,
daughter.
oh, I have 3 kids. It's enough.
Yeah.
She has 3 different personalities. We're good.
That's so true.
Oh man. It's
You
so
don't
true.
know,
And
it's 3 in like 1 minute. They change so quickly.
Oh my gosh. I don't know about you, but she's definitely doing like the please, 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 and the like open eyes and begging and I don't know, like a little cute kitty. I'm like, dang, I can't say no to that. It really works.
It
Who taught
does.
you that?
I think you had mentioned like, she's young, she may not remember or whatever, let's work hard while I can type of thing. I think that it's good for children to see their parents working hard.
Hmm.
Like, I think it's good. Like if you had a job where you could just take off and be there 24/7, I mean, yes, there's some things to that, but like once your kids are old enough to understand sacrifices that are being made for you to provide and stuff like that and see a work ethic, like I think that that's important. And right now, like everybody's talking about our generation that's coming up and nobody wants to work and they want to be YouTube celebrities and all this stupid crap. Like, I just want to play video games as my career. That's not a real career. Like,
It can be
at
though.
all.
It can be.
It's like 1 out of a million.
That is true. I did the one guy here lives like 6 houses down from me. I did his loan. He is a video gamer. I mean, he's like
Professional
40
gamer.
something. Yeah, he is.
Dang.
He makes good money
Okay.
at it, but like that's one person that I've seen on YouTube actually make money out of it.
Right.
Well, it happens.
So
But
I don't know.
I get you.
I don't think it's a bad thing for them to see work ethic. Now, I'm not saying like don't ever attend, a sporting event, a ballet recital, or I'm not saying that, but occasionally when like they want to go to the beach, but we have to do something or what, I don't think that that's harmful to them to see you working.
And you
No, I
show them a
think
lot
that's
of
a
drive.
really good point. Yes.
You're showing the drive too. Is like, I have my kids this afternoon. We're gonna go do some stuff, but I had somebody, one of the people in our company was like, Steven, how do you do with the kids during the summer? And I'm like, my 8-hour workday is 4 hours. Like I got to do 8 hours of work in 4 hours, and then you know whatever I can else get done afterwards. Like that's it. That's just how
Right.
you have to do it. I think being a parent, like it makes you just like, this is the time I have. This is what I'm gonna do, and get it done, kind of thing.
I love that. And that's a really great point because I'm like, man, I do agree. Like, is the next generation soft? Like,
Some
they
of them
don't
are,
feel
yes.
well. Yeah, and they don't want to go to work and they can just find another job. And trust me, I'm like, I don't want to bring a child up in this generation where, bullying is so fast at the, fingertips and social media. And then everyone in school knows that, this person did this person and did that. And I'm like, oh, I'm not ready for all that technology. But I don't think any of us are ready to parent, right? We just have to learn. Like I always tell my friends, I'm like, oh, this house isn't baby proof. It's like host. Like after the baby falls, that's when you start fixing up the corners and putting more padding. And all the things. So they have to fall a little bit and scrape their knee, and then we adjust.
Yep,
Right.
I think that's perfect with it. So what is, getting off the parenting topic of it, or maybe a little bit of the parenting topic with it, I guess.
Love
What's
it.
a piece of advice you would give yourself, your younger self, either when you started out in real estate, or if you could just go back to yourself and slap yourself and say, hey, you need to do this, what
Easy.
would you?
So easy. I still struggle with it today. And that's why it goes back down to your very first question. I can be very indecisive, and I need to learn to find my voice and be confident behind it and make a decision. And the sooner I can get to a decision, the better and more secure I am, the more solid I am. And I think what really moved me in my career was, my mom didn't want me to be overly humble and braggadocious. And she's like, everyone in the room is better than you at something. There's someone's going to be better looking, smarter, whatever the case may be. And so going to those auditions, those dance auditions, man, it came to a point where I would get dressed, I'd get ready, I'd look in the room, and I would literally run out the door, not even giving myself a chance to actually audition and potentially get the part. I'm like, you're such an idiot. You didn't even give yourself anything. You've already lost the job. You haven't even had the shot. There's like that quote, isn't it? Like you miss all the shots you don't take or something like that.
Yeah, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
There it is. And
Dangerous.
I thought, yes, I thought that if I was telling my clients, like, this is who I am, this is what I've done, this is why you need to choose me, that it was being braggadocious. But actually, I'm securing them, and I'm making sure that they feel unwavered and comfortable and confident and empowered on why they chose me as a realtor. So for me personally, in my personal development and my journey, um, it would be to come to that much, much sooner in life and not in my late 30s. Damn,
That's how Derek
damn, I
said.
feel old.
We're all in our 30s. Derek's super old though, only because he's a year older than me.
We're old, really.
I have to put it on there. We're all 80s babies. It's okay. Good. Uh, but it's how Derek said though, like, would you have listened to yourself then, kind of thing? You go through what you go through to be who you are. Like, yeah, you wish you could go back and tell yourself something and say, oh yeah, I'll change. But I know if I went back and told myself anything, I'd have been like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like, I already know
Yeah, for
everything.
sure.
So
Well, it would definitely change the course of my life. I mean, we can't, what is it, Back to the Future? You change one thing and everything changes.
yep,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So not going back to the future, looking towards the future, there's some changes coming to real estate with this whole NAR settlement. It's been a very popular topic of discussion on social media. There's been a lot of people arguing this and that. It's positive, it's negative. What is your take on the NAR settlement? And are you concerned? Do you have a positive outlook on it? Tell us more.
Um, I think it's funny. Um, but I don't know how your past podcasts are and what your thoughts are. I always think it's good when change happens and then, you have to weed out those who are not strong in what they do or confident in what they do, and weeding out those realtors who can't make a full-time living, and having the people who do know what they're doing here. Like I feel like it's going to take some really savvy listing agents to educate the sellers and homeowners to continue to, create an attraction co-op like compensation to attract a buyer and their agent to come. So I feel like a lot of things aren't going to change in that respect. Are we going to have to do a lot more work and make a lot more phone calls and actually play nice with other realtors? Oh yeah, but that should have always been that way. I think it's funny because who are the ones that are complaining are what the buyers and decoupling it, and sellers won't want to pay, but then they're going to have to turn around and buy something and they're going to want to have someone pay for their fees. But those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts?
I think how you said it, if you have value, you'll be fine. The ones that are, I'm not going to say a part-time agent can't make it because I have a couple agents. One of my strongest agents here is also a full-time police officer and slash trainer for the sheriff's office, and she crushes it in real estate. But I mean, she knows how to boom, boom, boom. She shows her value with it. I think whoever shows their value the strongest will stay in the marketing. I mean, we're going through it not because of the settlement, but mortgage business is not easy. There is no easy loan right now, and there are lenders dropping out left and right because they just can't. They have no value. If your value was, hey, I have the lowest rate, well, everybody has basically the same rate. So how does that really help you? Kind of thing. I think you hit the nail on the head with it. It's who has the value, how you were saying it, and shows that will win.
Yeah, no, I like that. There was somebody, like, I saw an agent posting just all the negative things. Don't take my commission, this and that. So like, I have a tool where I can look up like the amount of business a realtor does, and this agent didn't do a whole lot of business. So I feel like that's why they were scared and yelling at everybody else and stuff like that. Cause I don't think that they were very confident in their ability to, help people buy and sell homes. So I don't know.
I wanted to wrap it
Good
up here,
points.
but I wanted to say one thing. So I met you on social media. And that's how we connected and got to know each other at first. So I know, I'm very big on social media. Derek's getting really into it too. You dominate it. I mean, you're always there, stories, all that. I can't get into the stories yet. I'm not there yet. I'm not that good with it, but
Stories are the best.
I'm horrible. Because my mind goes, oh, I probably should have done a story about that, but that was 5 minutes ago. It's I can't reenact it. Like I always forget everything with it, but you dominate it. If someone's just starting out, or even maybe they've been in it a little bit, what is something you would tell somebody like, this is what you should do?
Man, I love Instagram, and I know there are a million and one other social media, and I should be delving into TikTok, and I did for a little bit, but they're just cruel on there. Like, holy cow. People have some freaking balls. Like they grow some, sitting behind a
No,
computer.
they don't. No, they don't. They
Yeah,
don't have balls because they're sitting
yeah.
behind a phone or a computer
Being a
talking
coward.
crap. They would never say that to someone's face.
Never.
Absolutely would never.
I agree. They would never say it.
They're
I
cowards.
would, thank you.
Sorry.
I want to get into the
This is why
YouTube game, but
he can't be on social media.
That's why I'm not on TikTok. I would just start fighting people. It's just, yeah.
I'm
Just
definitely
kidding.
like a fly on the wall and like watching and looking at the comments, but I'm not adding anything. Um, I think conversation has to happen, and that's how you can convert, just like anything else. A stranger to a warm lead, to a customer, to a client, and a forever friend, what have you. I make sure I take the time to reach out to every follower, like, yo, thanks for hitting that follow button. Thanks for joining me on my journey. I don't know where you are in yours. I don't know if you found me on the Explore page. I don't know if you're looking to purchase or you already purchased. If there's content you want to see, or maybe it's something about Knoxville, let me know. Like, it doesn't just help you out, it helps everyone in the room out. So I do that. And number two, versus just liking something, like actually leave a question. Like, well, what do you think about the market or the rates or the NAR settlement? Have someone go back and engage and answer that question
You
too.
mean
And
actually be social on social media?
actually be social, yes. Because I can double tap all day.
Yeah, that's the easy part.
And I can share and tag, but I think when you're really intentional, then you can really meet awesome people like yourself. And actually, I met an agent in Greenville, South Carolina. She's coming in for celebrating her 9-year-old's birthday at Dollywood this Saturday, and she's like, "Come through." I was like, "You know what? I think I'm going to." First time meeting face to face, and we've had phone calls, FaceTime. I've met her daughters. So I think for that reason, I like social media. That power is awesome. The connecting through Zoom, the podcasts, the information that we can give that are at our fingertips through Audible and Spotify. I mean, sometimes I would think subconsciously we're optimizing it, but intentionally, like it could be really, really cool.
I think that's great. Yeah, that is huge. It's funny is that we talk about it. When I posted something that when we did our closing, I posted about it, and I'm on the YPN at our realtor board with Jorge, and he was like, "How the heck do you know her?" And I was like, "Instagram." He's like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's how I met her." He's like, "I
Even
know
Mike,
her."
like we have
Yeah,
multiple mutual friends, which
yeah.
is really cool.
Like she sees them at like she's in Remax, so she sees them at the conferences, and they're like, I see them here. They're local to me, and they're like, "Wait, how do you know her?" Like this is crazy. So it's the reach you can get, the people you can teach and educate and encourage is great. So why we wrap it up, how can somebody find you? What is your social media links, handles, whatever you call them?
Handles.
Handles? Yeah.
Handles. Oh, from the social media guru himself.
I,
Derek, I better see some videos from you.
There's some, dude, relax.
I was just saying, like, I love going to Trader Joe's and seeing my grocery guys. Like, I'm pretty sure you were fun at Publix, so I'm sure you could have some awesome conversations.
yeah,
But
Publix videos.
Publix videos, yes. Um, Social media and everything you can think of is all at Aimee Lee Lucas, AIMEELEELUCAS. My mom did a fantastic job naming me and all my siblings. My sister got Joelle, but she was born first. I wish I got that name. No pressure trying to name my daughter and giving her some awesome spelling. Didn't do very well. She got Alexia, pretty basic. People are going to say Alexa for the rest of her life because she was born into this generation, but it is what